Good afternoon. This is Chris Hill, your 2020 SMAR president. I'm here with our CEO, Richard Marshall, as part of our industry leadership interview series. Today, we're sitting down with one of our corporate sponsors, Mark Davis with RE/MAX I. Mark, first and foremost, how are you, your family, and your team at RE/MAX I doing?
I think everybody's doing well. Everybody's healthy and just trying to make it through this current situation that we're in. But we're optimistic that we're going to get through this pretty well.
Yeah, I think we are. We're all trying to be optimistic, I think. But Mark, what market issues are you currently seeing in Southern Maryland, and how do you see the end of the year unfolding? I mean, is it in I particularly Southern Maryland, like, you know, the state have their numbers and everybody has their thing, but what do you see in Southern Maryland happening?
I think the biggest issue we're seeing now is just lack of inventory. I mean, I think that's pretty commonly the concern out there, is that I think there's just a lack of listings on the market. I think some of that probably stems from sellers who are just a little apprehensive about putting their house on the market, thinking maybe now is not the most opportune time to get more buyers look at their properties. So I've got agents out there trying to tell sellers, hey, if you're on the fence thinking about it, now's a great time to put your house on the market. There's buyers out there actively looking. I think we talked earlier, the buyers that are out there are serious buyers. They're not just out kicking the tires. Rates are low. I think they're going to be low for a while. So I think now is a great time to put your house on the market. And that's just the message we got to get out to people that, hey, the real estate market is moving. We were talking earlier. I mean, this year we definitely had a little bit of a bottom in there at the end of March, beginning of April. I think people were just scared, just not knowing what was going on. But I think once we got the ground rules in place, and I started to see, you know, the kind of market bottomed out, and it's been increased in the past several weeks. And I think the last week is really, things have really seemed like they're kicking in high gear. So I think we're optimistic moving forward.
Yeah, I think we've been, like we said before, you know, the buyers out there seem to be serious. So like you're not wasting your time, you know, showing buyers that aren't really, you know, like you said, they're kicking tires. They're not doing that. If they're looking at houses, they're thinking about buying a house.
Right. Yeah, I think a lot of times people, you know, several weeks ago, people were scared also. You know, scared of going to people's houses, scared of having other people come in their houses. And I really feel like that's subsided a good bit the past couple of weeks. I think as the numbers are coming out, really look like they're stabilizing. You know, the hospitalization rates are dropping. I think people are getting more of a comfort level actually working in this environment. So I think as the more we go through, the farther ahead we get in this, I think that will just continue to improve.
We hope so.
Yes.
So Mark, let me thank you, as well as Chris did, for your sponsorship this year, as well as serving on our board of directors. And you know, we really appreciate what you're doing for the organization. You've always been heavily invested into SMAR. I, along with Chris, definitely want to thank you for that. My question for you is twofold. During the last couple months, how has your brokerage adjusted to staying in touch with your agents? And then second to that, what successes have you had and what challenges have you encountered during that process, if any?
I might take those in reverse order, maybe in some part, Richard. So I think, you know, looking back at the end of March, you know, we had a succession of different things that were kind of hitting us, from the schools being closed to the business being closed to the stay-at-home order. And I think there for a couple of weeks, we were really just dealing with, can we continue to do business? And I think we had a lot of agents out there. Every time Governor Hogan gave an announcement, you know, implementing something else, they just weren't sure, can they continue to do business? Once we were able to answer that question, can we continue to do business? And the question was, well, how do we do that? And just trying to get things in place, whether it's drafting additional addendums or forms, you know, to protect our agents, protect the brokerage, and protect the buyers and sellers in the market. You know, helping our agents to be able to do business. I think those are the big things. Can we do business? Now that we can, how do we do that? So I think, you know, that was a big part. The other thing we started to do, once we figured that out, then I wanted to try to re-engage our agents. I think a lot of agents, it really, this last week of March, first week in April, I think a lot of people were kind of frozen in fear, was the term I was using. They just didn't know what to do, what they could do. They didn't know if there was going to be buyers or sellers out there. So they basically kind of just, you know, kept to themselves and really weren't out engaging. So I wanted to try to get our agents re-engaged. So what we started to do, we started to have, you know, weekly Facebook Live sessions with our agents. And we would kind of have a similar pattern as we go through this. We'd give a market update, we'd give kind of an update of kind of where we are in the crisis, what Hogan was doing, what the different rules were. We talk about any new addendums that were coming out, either ones that we put out or that MAR put out to address the situation, and then gave agents the opportunity to talk with us about that. So we did those pretty regularly every week, and we're still doing those. And I was really surprised the level of engagement we had. It told me that the agents were hungry for information, from someone hopefully that they can trust that's going to give them the right information. So we did our best to do that. The other thing we did is in talking to a couple of team members, it seemed like they were having some concerns with making sure their team members were engaged and that their team members still knew that they could do business. So we actually had a virtual team leader summit where we did a Zoom session that had the team leaders on there, and it was really kind of neat. I think we probably did that at the end of middle of April, end of April, something like that. And it was really neat to see how the team leaders be able to see each other. And you could just see that there was a desire and a yearning to re-engage with everybody else. So we talked about issues that they were facing, whether it's motivation, whether it's whatever it might be for a team. So we try to do things like that. We've also been holding virtual training sessions. So at least twice a week, we have virtual training sessions. And we try to talk about issues that they have and just trying to get back to the normal training schedule that we would have to the agents. Just trying to install some sense of normalcy into the situation that we have, just to let the agents know, hey, it's okay to do business. People are doing business. So let's figure out how we can get everybody engaged and back in the marketplace.
Nice.
Yeah, it's funny. It's that normalcy word is the thing that everybody keeps talking about. Either the new normal or or if there is a new normal. You and I both know that the real estate world is about changing and adapting, and it's essential for survival and success. You know what I mean? Like, is there anything you can share that you've learned from those calls, like those things that you've done that may be helpful to other members in SMAR?
Sure. I think the one thing I think I've learned is that I think agents have been forced to embrace technology and embrace virtual meetings, just like the one we're doing now. And I mean, I'm a firm believer and still am with that, person-to-person contact, engaging somebody, face to face. But I do believe that there is going to be a bigger role for technology as we move forward in just holding these virtual meetings. So I can see us moving forward, when we have our agent meetings, as opposed to having every agent meeting in person in the different offices, maybe every other meeting we hold a virtual agent meeting. And I think that would save the agents time. They wouldn't have to travel to the office. It would save staff time because we basically hit all 6 offices at the same time in one virtual meeting. We can record the meeting, let people look at it, after the fact. So I think things like that, kind of a crash course in use of technology is one thing that's come out of it. I think a lot of times people have been reluctant to embrace technology and to do things, use things like Zoom or go to webinar, but we've been forced to learn that very quickly.
Right.
And I think it's going to have a bigger role going forward, just that type of technology. I think the virtual open houses also is going to have people are going to continue to do that. It's just as a time saver. It's a time saver for everybody. If you can have buyers, virtually tour 3 or 4 open houses, 3 or 4 houses in an hour or so, as opposed to driving to different houses. That way they can really narrow down which ones they really want to see. So not wasting their time, not wasting the agent's time. So I think that technology, going forward is going to be even a bigger role than we've had in the past.
It's funny is we were on the NAR had their legislative conference. Was it a week or 2 ago? Almost 2 weeks ago now, and they were saying that their participation rates are like through the roof.
Right.
Tenfold what they would have with people showing up to be involved. And I agree with you. I mean, I had a client this morning call me and say they wanted to see a virtual open house on a property. Like that's what they said. So,
right.
So it's definitely a trend that's coming. So
yeah, we had really good response rate and really good participation rate with my Facebook Live sessions. I mean, I think the people who joined live, was higher than I think we've got with any agent meeting, at least that first one. I think it was new. And really the participation has held up even as we've been doing them more and more. So I definitely think it's a tool that we all can use. And I think we all can realize time savings and efficiencies because of it.
Yeah, I agree with you. So, all right. So in closing, Mark, is there any last tidbit that you can give to our SMAR members right now? I know that was a good one, embrace the technology, I guess, is if you were to have that, but is there any last tidbit that you could throw out there for our members today?
I mean, I think the only thing I would say is it is a new environment. I think it's important for agents to understand it's a new environment, but don't be frozen in fear. I mean, figure out a way to make it happen. There's ways, people are doing business, agents are doing business, so don't be left behind, stay up to date with technology. The new things that we have to learn, they're just obstacles, but as you overcome them, you'll come out on the other side a much stronger and much better agent going forward. So.
That's awesome. Well, Mark, again, I want to thank you for being a sponsor of SMAR and your words of wisdom today. It's actually always helpful for us, and anything we can do, anything SMAR can do to help you, we're here for that, and we appreciate you very much. Thank you for taking this time.
Well, we appreciate SMAR. We appreciate the role the SMAR plays there that you guys do for the agents. So we really appreciate you guys as well. No, you guys have been working hard through this as well. So we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.